TYT Sports, everybody. Here with Doug Newman, AccuScore. You've seen Doug before. Doug, we brought you back. We're excited to have you on now because the college football playoff is coming. And are we ever so damn excited? Because as a college football fan, have you not been waiting for this moment for so long? Because we always discuss, you see it everywhere. For the last, I don't even know how long the BCS was in place. Possibly longer than I've been alive. And the number 3 team who normally could technically be that number 2 team playing for a championship now does get a chance because 1 through 4 get to duke it out in a 2-game playoff, which is awesome. So from AccuScore, where you guys can get some great picks, odds, everything to do with your sports betting and gambling advice, who do we have as the outright favorite to win the college football playoff?
Well, of course, different books will vary a little bit, but I think, the overwhelming majority are giving Alabama the slight edge right now as being the number 1 favorite, with Oregon a close second. And then we've got Florida State and Ohio State are pretty much equal, getting similar odds, which are pretty much long shots because they're not really expected to win either game.
Right.
But, Alabama is right around even money, minus 110, something around there. Oregon's about plus 150. And then we've got Florida State, Ohio State, running around plus 800.
Is there anybody that you are pulling for? Is there any team you are rooting for, odds aside?
Being a UCLA guy, it's I think a lot of people always want to say you got to root for your conference.
Right.
As much as I hate Oregon, I would I would like to see them uproot, an SEC team, and especially Alabama, who's been so dominant over the past 5-6 years, and it's unbelievable the success they have.
I don't know if there's more Alabama bandwagon, and not bandwagon in the bad sense of the word bandwagon, just fans, I should say, is a lot less negative, or if there's more Alabama haters. Because it just seems like oh my God, Alabama's the number 1. Shocking. This is shocking news. Alabama's the number 1 seed going into the playoffs. But yeah, they're also an extremely well-coached team. Like I said, we talked before about Amari Cooper, who is just unbelievable. He's going to join this already rookie class of wide receivers in the NFL that are making waves.
Fantastic.
So, talent everywhere, but let's focus on that Pac-12 versus ACC matchup, which is the Rose Bowl. The Oregon Ducks against the Florida State Seminoles, up the road from us here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, this Rose Bowl between Oregon and Florida State marks the first time these 2 teams will have ever met, which I find unbelievably interesting considering how good Oregon has become over the past few years and how big a powerhouse of a school Florida State. You just think at some point that they would match up against each other. And of course, we have to throw to one amazing graphic, which is a tweet from ESPN Stats and Info. There it is. Entering bowl season in 2014, Heisman winner Mariota, 92 total QBR, 68% completion percentage, 38 TD passes. That's not a glitch in the matrix. It says Jameis Winston in 2013.
That's uncanny.
It's identical, minus 1 QBR, 1 rating, 1 point.
Crazy.
Everything's the same. So this is a dream Heisman battle for a spot in the championship game. Can we go into a little more detail from the algorithm side of things and AccuScore of this? Oh, I can't wait for this Rose Bowl game.
It's going to be great. I think we're all excited about all of these games. This game in particular, there's a little bit of history since Oregon has already played at the Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm. So they already beat UCLA easily and covered. So there is some, data there that, favors Oregon, and it looks like after running, approximately 10,000 simulations on this game, using all the elements combined, it really thinks that Oregon's going to come out ahead easily and actually cover the spread. So we've got a final score projection of around 44-31. So covering, the 9.5 point spread, by a solid field goal. So we think there's obviously going to be a lot of points scored, and these teams are going to be fighting fiercely. And, another crazy thing to note is obviously Jameis Winston has never lost a game as a starter. So this is really something to, this could be his first loss and last loss.
Jameis's first loss. That's a really interesting point because, when Florida State had to play their first half without Jameis Winston, when he got that first half suspension against Clemson, everyone thought they couldn't do it without him. Well, they did win without him, which is a scary factor going against Oregon. And we also know that Florida State, with Jameis Winston, has won on the big stage. Truthfully, though, I am pulling for Oregon just because that fast-paced Pac-12 offense is just so much fun to watch. And I truly wouldn't be surprised if this is a 110 combined points scored game because these are two high-paced, fast-paced, high-scoring teams, which will be great. So moving on to the Alabama Crimson Tide versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State, quick fact, 0-3 all-time against Alabama, including a pair of losses in the postseason, going all the way back to the 1978 Sugar Bowl and the 1995 Citrus Bowl.
Wow.
We're pulling these out of nowhere here. And, you know, Alabama, as we said, the favorite to win the college football playoff. Shocker. Could we go into a little more detail about this spread and how the 10,000 simulations that AccuScore is run?
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State, you know, probably the biggest shock of getting into the playoff contention. And, you know, so they got to be happy to be there. And Cardell Jones obviously just wowed people. You know, huge win in the title game last week.
Right.
And, you know, they made some waves, so they feel they deserve their spot. And the computer seems to like them as well. I mean, they don't really think Alabama is going to lose this game. You know, they're a pretty handy favorite, and they're going to, you know, come out ahead according to the AccuScore computer. But, you know, we feel that the spread is right on target here. You know, we see a 9-10 point game, and that's exactly what Vegas has right now and how it's sitting. You know, obviously as it gets closer to game day, a lot of the bigger money is going to come in, and that could move the line either direction. But as it sits right now at 9.5, you know, we don't really see an edge either way in terms of betting. But, you know, we look for Alabama to move on.
Right, and then we have Alabama versus Oregon is the simulated college football final.
Not a surprise there. The two big favorites are expected to move on.
And this is also because I don't think Ohio State versus Florida State is even as exciting as Oregon versus Alabama. And before I piss off every Buckeye and Seminole fan out there, we're full disclosure here. We're full disclosure. There's certain teams we're pulling for, but the computer has no bias. The computer is using its intelligence, artificial intelligence, to give us this prediction of Oregon versus Alabama, and who comes out on top of that.
That's absolutely correct. You know, the computer knows nothing about what these players are doing off the field.
Right.
This is strictly from data, you know, in the archives and what the players have done on the field. And at a neutral location, you know, this is almost as much of a coin flip as you really can get.
Which is what we want to see.
Which would be great, obviously, for the league, for television, for the fans. And,
but
you know,
for the sports bettors.
Ultimately, you know, in terms of betting, you know, we've got to shift it one way because there are no ties, especially in the national championship game. And, it gives a slight edge after 10,000 simulations of 50.6% to 49.4%. So it's really a dead heat. You know, this game could just come to, you know, who's going to make the most mistakes and capitalize. And the computer, if it had to choose one, gun to the computer's head, I guess you could say.
Right.
You know, it says Oregon -1. I don't know what's going to, you know, how the line is going to come out. You know, it might be a true pick'em, you know, in Vegas eyes, and it will be a game.
If it was a true pick'em, that's unbelievable, because I don't even know if that's happened.
I don't think it's happened in recent memory.
Recent memory that a true pick'em for the college football championship.
But with now, I think this new system might, you know, make that happen a little more frequently, where we're really getting the best teams in there.
What we know we don't want to see is another Alabama versus Notre Dame championship game, which ends in just a blowout, because the hype, it just doesn't live up to it. But you do know that any two of these four teams, when they face off against each other, there shouldn't be blowouts. And it could happen, but it's more likely that it won't. Doug, AccuScore,
thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in.
All right.
Guys, check out the description box below. You can see everything. You can sign up for AccuScore and go to AccuScore.com for these insane, detailed, make your sports betting life just a little bit easier. Check it out. Make sure to go and good luck with the college football playoffs if you're betting on them. And if you're not and you're sitting there enjoying them, well, go Ducks.
Go Ducks.
Go Ducks.
All right.